Hello and welcome to everyone watching. My name is Raven Crossing, and holy shit, Sony just cannot stop taking L's lately. So at the time of recording, we just had State of Play yesterday, and my god, it was almost embarrassing. Actually, no, fuck that. It was embarrassing. I don't know what they were thinking. Aside from Dragon Age Veilguard and the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which admittedly looks pretty cool, nearly every game that was announced was either a remake or a remaster, which, ooh, that one stung. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, I want to address a little game that you might have heard of. I know I didn't until a couple months ago, and that was Concord. I know a lot of the hype for this game started to build around, I want to say early last year. It seemed like a really interesting shooter that was coming from a brand new studio, Firewalk Studios, which if I remember correctly was formed by a lot of like industry veterans, so people were pretty excited whenever Sony announced that it was going to be a first-party release. But then over time, as more and more details came out about the game, people realized, oh wait a minute, this is just another trend-chasing live service piece of shit. Basically, the game was just another 5v5 hero shooter, and the hype for it quickly dissipated. And it had one of the most abysmal launches for any AAA title I think I've ever seen. The game reportedly only sold like 25,000 copies, which at the $40 price tag means it probably only grossed about $1 million, which is rough considering that Sony bought Firewalk Studios for $100 million. But wait, there's more. So there's been a lot of information that's come out about the game's production over the last few months, and I genuinely didn't quite understand, or rather comprehend it when I first heard all of it. I was like, there's no way. But at least from what I understand, none of this information is being contested so far, so it seems like it's pretty plausible. So basically, the whole story of Concord starts back in 2016 when all these developers are basically just talking about the game, brainstorming, and beginning pre-production on it, right? And then full-scale production, from what I understand, basically starts whenever the studio was founded in 2018. And over the next few years, up until they are bought by Sony, Firewalk Studios was able to get $200 million from investors to pump into the game's development, which that's already a crazy number, especially for a 5v5 hero shooter. Like that is absurd to me. For reference, Red Dead Redemption 2 is supposed to have had a budget between $370 to $540 million, roughly the same as GTA 5. Let that sink in. A hero shooter supposedly had a comparable budget to two of the last two generations' defining games. That is absurd. But wait, there's more. So apparently by the time Sony actually bought the studio, the game was just not in a polished state. It was barely playable, apparently. In fact, it was so bad that Sony invested another $200 million and basically sent out strike teams of developers to rush the game and get it as complete as possible for a final release this year, which could explain quite a bit. Just saying. And obviously when it releases, it's one of the most catastrophic bombs in the history of gaming. You know somebody fucked up when you get Sony, one of the greediest companies known to man, to sit back, take the L, and offer everyone their money back. Like, that is a fucking accomplishment. So all in all, Concord is effectively a $500 million loss. 300 million of that coming directly out of Sony's pockets. On top of all that, apparently the culture behind this game within Sony was like weirdly positive. Apparently Jim Ryan was going around saying that this was going to be the future of PlayStation's live service goals, which is just crazy. I mean, especially when we already have a game like Helldivers, which I think is probably the gold standard for live service titles. To know that they went from that to one of the most underbaked, laughable launches again, in the history of gaming. I mean, I don't know if it's unprecedented, this happening, but it's certainly crazy. Like, I haven't seen anything like this happen in my lifetime. Maybe it happened and I just, like, didn't hear about it, but hey, if nothing else, hopefully this will make Sony kind of, stop being stupid, because lately they've just been making a lot of bizarre anti-consumer decisions, and it's really starting to hurt their fan base. I'm not even going to talk about the PS5 Pro pricing and all that bullshit, because frankly it's not even worth talking about. The shit is laughable. But man, hopefully they finally wise up and walk back a lot of these really dumb decisions that are being made by leadership that is clearly just out of touch. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Have a good day.